A shape-shifting phantom is taking men to the afterlife. Where did this otherworldly spirit come from? Don't miss it. The clairvoyants will uncover the truth behind a horrifying murder. This is Psychic Investigations. Real and shocking stories only. Individuals who call themselves clairvoyants investigate high-profile criminal cases and unbelievable paranormal phenomena. Three Ukrainians, lifelong friends. Slavik Nemesh, a young entrepreneur, 28 years old. This is one of his last photos. Ivan Hasi, 25, a construction worker. His little son, Mihailo, had just turned 1. Ivan Danch, 22, recently graduated and newly married.
3 funerals at once. All 3 are gone.
They had been friends since childhood, and they all died mysteriously on the same day in a horrific car crash.
The car spun out and flipped over the bridge.
According to law enforcement, the driver lost control, causing the vehicle to plunge off the bridge. The 3 passengers were unable to escape and drowned.
I just don't understand how they could have veered off so badly that the car flipped onto its roof in the stream.
This is the spot where the car crashed with 3 men inside. It defies all logic. How could they drown in such a shallow amount of water?
There was barely any water, just a tiny bit.
If even one had survived, but all 3, they all died.
Their relatives searched for the young men all night. They drove along that road many times, both at night and even in the morning. Yet neither they nor other drivers on that route saw a car overturned in the water beneath the bridge.
No one saw it.
The car in the water was discovered only the next day around noon.
They lay there all night. No one saw them. Maybe they could have been saved.
One of the grieving mothers believes her son's wife is to blame, that she used dark magic to take his life.
Her mother gave him a small candle to keep in the car.
Moreover, the woman says she found other strange items in the yard.
We found all sorts of things. Trinkets, coins. While sweeping the yard, I even found a pin.
Could dark magic really have caused one young man's death? And if so, why did his 2 closest friends die alongside him?
The whole village was in mourning. Such an unimaginable tragedy. Young men, their whole lives ahead of them. It's terrible.
The families of the deceased turned to the psychics because, after their deaths, the young men appeared in dreams, as if trying to convey something.
They appeared in dreams, all 3 of them, soaking wet in the water, asking for help.
Coming to their aid are Ukrainian clairvoyant Elena Kurilova and psychic from Azerbaijan, Khayal Alekperov.
Elena, I see a woman with black hair and tear-filled eyes. She takes a photo of this young man, cuts it, burns it. And now I hear this man speaking to me, pleading, "Go to her. Tell everyone the truth."
And I see a child. He is walking down a road, but he is not alone. Beside him walks a massive wolf. And gradually, they both become transparent, invisible.
The psychics decided to head straight to the cemetery, where all 3 young men were buried.
Hello.
Hello. We are glad you came. I am Slavik's mother.
The moment we arrived here, I saw behind all of you a massive entity, resembling a dog or a wolf. I don't yet know if this is connected to our investigation, but there is definitely something supernatural about it. It is extremely hostile. We should go to the graves.
But Elena Kurilova, without saying a word, suddenly turns in the opposite direction and walks into the crowd. She carefully looks into the eyes of each person until she stops in front of this young woman.
You're carrying his child.
This is Elena, wife of the youngest among the friends, Ivan. They had been married for only 2 weeks before the tragedy, and just days before the horrific accident, they found out they were expecting a baby.
I'm pregnant, I told him, and he was so happy.
But Ivan never got the chance to hold his child, and their unborn baby will never meet its father.
Let's go.
Natalia, your son was the one driving the car, wasn't he?
Yes.
He's waiting for you over there. That's his grave, isn't it?
Yes, yes.
He says, I was driving. Something came straight at me. That's what killed me. It wasn't a side impact or anything like that. I saw it coming and they tried to avoid it.
The spirit tells me I was driving. I ask him, were you going fast? He says, no, slowly. We weren't in a hurry. Everything was calm. But then something appeared right in front of us, and I had to swerve.
This is strange because, according to experts, there were no other vehicles on the road at the time of the crash.
What could have been on the road? He says, think of a woman. He's showing me an image of a woman, a young girl.
Incredibly, at that exact moment, the wife of one of the deceased, Elena, spotted a ghostly figure of a woman in the crowd.
A young woman, all in white. She flashed between the people for just a second. I didn't get a good look.
I ask the spirit, who is responsible for your deaths? And he keeps repeating, her. He's talking about a woman.
When Slavik's mother in tears bent over his grave, I saw his spirit. He turned to me and pointed at his own portrait on the headstone. The portrait cracked.
Ours cracked too, but about 3 weeks ago.
The portrait of the youngest, Ivan, also cracked, right in the hands of his sister.
The photo was laminated, but it still cracked.
Panic spread among the gathered. The portraits on all 3 graves had shattered almost simultaneously.
The boys are trying to say something from the other side.
Wait, the crack in the portrait. Slavik's spirit is showing me woman's hands cutting up his photo and then burning it.
Unbelievable. Khayal Alekperov had seen a similar vision even before the investigation began.
She's taking this man's photos, cutting them, burning them.
It's his wife.
What's her name?
Natalia.
Slavik's wife, Natalia, isn't here. Shortly before the tragedy, the couple had a fight. She moved back in with her parents, and Slavik returned to his own family home.
Excuse me, but I have the feeling that you suspect Slavik's wife in this tragedy.
She did something to Slavik. Did she curse him or what?
The mother claims that after the tragedy, Natalia completely cut off contact with their family. She didn't even come to the funeral.
No mourning, nothing.
After the crash, the grieving mother wanted to collect her daughter-in-law's wedding photos of Slavik. However, Natalia said she had destroyed them all, cut them up, and burned them.
I want to see her.
The psychics headed to Slavik's wife. Word of their arrival spreads quickly through the village. People gather in front of Natalia's house. Eventually, she steps outside with her mother.
Hello. We've come to understand the tragedy that took your husband's life and the lives of his 2 friends.
The woman doesn't answer. She's overcome with emotion.
Get her some water.
Natalia, rest your head on my shoulder. Come on, lean in. She's struggling to sit upright.
Natalia, I can feel your fear. Who or what are you afraid of?
They keep calling me. They say they'll bury me where he is. Why? Am I guilty of something? I never wanted his death.
Why didn't you come to the funeral?
Because you told me you'd kill me, that you'd throw acid on me.
Did your suspicions about your daughter-in-law start because of an object?
There was a candle.
It turned out that shortly before his death, Slavik's mother had found a half-burned candle in his car. When she asked him about it, he said his wife had given it to him.
Could something have been done to that candle?
But the candle was from a holy place, wasn't it?
It was from the church, from when they blessed the water.
Stop. Your argument doesn't matter anymore. There was a shadow behind Slavik's wife. It was the spirit of the deceased, and I heard only his quiet words. She is not guilty.
Natalia didn't do any magic.
You loved him very much.
If I didn't love him, I wouldn't have married him.
But Natalia, the photos of Slavik, why did you destroy them?
After he died, I burned everything. I didn't want to have anything left.
The woman says that after her husband's death, she went through an incredible emotional stress, and now any memories of him cause her unbearable pain. On top of that, there is a feeling of guilt, since shortly before the tragedy, they had argued, and because of that, Natalia decided to get rid of everything that reminded her of Slavik.
Nobody knows how I even survived those days when he crashed.
Natalia.
Wait a little, Natalia. Help or she'll fall. Natalia.
Bring ammonia, please. It's in the car.
Natalia became so upset that she lost consciousness. It's no surprise, because for 6 months after the tragedy, almost everyone in the village blamed her for the deaths of the men because of her mother-in-law.
Please, calm down. You've both lost what was most precious to you. There's nothing left to fight over. Believe me, she truly loved Slavik and never wished him harm.
If I've wronged you in any way, forgive me. I swear I never wanted any of this.
No one can hold back their tears. These women haven't spoken in 6 months. For the first time since the tragic accident, they reconciled.
I keep seeing the image of a wolf, but now I feel a feminine energy. It's a she-wolf. The wolf I saw was actually a spirit, a female spirit. That's exactly how the boys saw it before they died. And that's why I'm seeing it the same way.
It's unbelievable, but later, one of Slavik's relatives confessed that before the psychics arrived, she had a strange dream. In it, all 3 of the deceased came to her.
They said they saw a spirit, and it took them away.
But I don't understand why then. Whose spirit is this, and why did it take these 3 lives?
Wait, I hear those words again. She took us. It feels like death lingers on this road.
It turned out, this wasn't the only accident that had happened here.
2 boys were hit and killed while biking at night.
A boy was struck, then further down a whole family.
It feels like this entire road is paved with accidents.
Locals are truly afraid of this stretch of road.
It's terrifying for everyone, for our own people, for strangers.
All these crashes have one thing in common. Drivers say they see a shadow or a figure just before the accident.
Many villagers claim they've seen something just like the clairvoyant's vision.
Right on the bridge, a shadow stands there. Headlights can't cut through it at all.
We need to go where the men died. Elena, as I walked this road, I saw something following the boys. It was right behind them.
Something not of this world.
It cries, moans, wanders. You can hear the screams and groans.
This entity looks like a wolf.
Incredibly, a local woman later claimed she saw something similar, right at the bridge where Slavik's car went off the road.
Its face was like a dog's, with the ears are like a dog's. It appeared suddenly, then vanished.
Slavik saw that wolf in front of him. That's what caused the crash.
Based on the car's trajectory, the sharp turn, followed by erratic movement, suggests that the driver reacted instinctively. Most likely, he suddenly saw an obstacle appear in his path, and in an attempt to avoid a collision, made a sudden and forceful turn of the wheel.
But what was it? Investigators found no physical obstructions at the scene of the accident. Was this truly something supernatural?
Only men are dying here. Whatever haunts this road targets them.
A boy and 3 girls were in the car. The girls survived.
Most of the victims here were men.
They're being taken by a woman's spirit. The boy's souls warned us. She took us. A female spirit appeared on the road before Slavik, just like with the others who died here. But there are also living witnesses who have seen the spirit on this road.
Yes, people said they saw something.
Did they see ghosts?
Yes, they did.
There's a woman's shadow walking there.
There's some kind of apparition standing on the bridge, a shadow.
I see 2 spirits here. A little boy about 5 and a woman.
Yes, there were ghosts. I saw a woman holding the boy's hand.
I personally saw a child and a woman crossing the road at 3 in the morning. The car stalled and I couldn't start it. It was so terrifying. I locked the doors and sat in the car until morning.
They say they saw a woman and a child.
A little boy, and with him, some kind of entity. It's huge, like a werewolf.
The woman turns into a she-wolf and deliberately causes accidents. She's seeking revenge for herself and the child. Wait, I'm being drawn toward the water like by a magnet. The she-wolf with the child, she was just here. This is the place of their death, right here. What happened to them?
It was like I felt some warmth on my shoulder. I turned around thinking someone was standing there.
She's showing me her death. She's kneeling by the shore and there's a man beside her. He picks up a stone and strikes her in the head, then throws her body into the water. Oh my God.
I have a sense that the child was killed by his own father.
Yes, I understand what you mean, Elena. Wait. The woman and child were in the car. Her husband, the child's father, was driving. The car stops here. The man gets out, grabs the child from the mother's arms, runs with him to the river and drowns him. The woman tries to save her son but can't. He's much stronger. He kills the child in front of her eyes, then kills her too. It's horrifying. But why is he doing this?
I have a feeling that jealousy was the reason.
Few know this terrifying story, but our film crew managed to uncover some detail.
The father killed his son. He was jealous of his wife.
The man killed the woman and the child here in the ditch.
I spoke with local law enforcement officers who confirmed that 20 years ago, a man did indeed kill his son and wife. For some reason, he thought the son wasn't his, and demanding a confession from his wife, he drowned the child. After the boy died, he killed the wife. He then fled the scene and is still missing.
This woman is in utter despair. Her spirit is furious with all men. Elena, this is a mother's love turned into hellish hatred toward those who took her child's life. And all men.
She can take more.
This spirit must be calmed. I felt the pain of that woman. Her child was killed before her eyes. She was tortured. After her death, she found no peace. When I stood by the water and prayed for her and her child to finally rest, I heard a terrible howl. It was her, the she-wolf I've seen throughout this investigation. In reality, that woman's spirit is outwardly aggressive, but inside, it's pure hellish pain.
Thank you. We are very grateful for everything.
The mutilated body of a first-year student was found in a field. Could this have been an occult murder? Don't miss out. The clairvoyance will reveal the horrifying truth. This is the last video in which 17-year-old Andre Kolb is caught alive. He's at his high school graduation ceremony. After that, the young man enrolled in the University of Internal Affairs, dreaming of becoming a law enforcement officer. However, after his first semester, he disappeared without a trace. This happened during the winter holidays when Andre arrived home.
We had dinner together and he said, "Mom, I'm going out." I told him, "Just don't be long, son," and went to bed. I woke up at 5 a.m., but he wasn't home yet. I dialed him. His phone was off. My heart sank. In 17 and a half years, it had never happened that he hadn't returned home.
The woman and her elder daughter, Mariana, started calling all of Andre's friends and acquaintances at 5 a.m.
No one had seen him. We called the police.
A massive search began. No one remained indifferent.
But it yielded no results.
We searched all the abandoned houses, pits, ditches, cellars, and wells.
Where could the first-year student have gone? And most importantly, was he alive?
We even thought he was beaten and lost his memory. But we still hoped he was alive. I went to bed holding his photo, crying and begging, "Son, please come to me in my dreams."
So the detectives stayed there day and night.
After 7 months of searching, the mother was informed that her son was found dead, without his head and hands.
The people who found the body contacted me.
I was mowing hay with my tractor and saw something in this spot. Then I saw the sneakers. I called the police immediately, and an investigative team arrived.
The body was almost completely skeletonized. The relatives couldn't recognize Andre in it, but the clothes were the same as when the boy disappeared. His mobile phone was also with him, in his pants pocket. Thus, the police immediately ruled out robbery as a motive. The bones were intact, so they also ruled out that he was hit by a car.
It's a great tragedy. His mother was dark with grief.
I bring flowers to his grave every day.
But Maria still doubts whether she buried her son.
Yes, the clothes were my son's, but there's no other confirmation that it's him.
But if Andre is indeed alive, where is he then? And if the buried body is indeed his, how did he end up in the middle of a field, several kilometers away from the nearest villages and roads? Was he murdered? Then who, why, and how did it?
The experts cannot find the cause of death due to the complete absence of soft tissues.
I want to ask the psychics to come and help me figure it out.
Clairvoyant Hala Polishchuk volunteered to help the mother. Molfar Olena Stetsenko will work on this case with her.
I sense a piercing chill emanating from this photograph. I'm sorry, but the boy is no longer among the living. I feel pain in my arms and legs. Sharp spikes pierce his body. It's some kind of nightmare. It seems like he was tortured. I don't know. Maybe it's some kind of ritual. The boy seems to have been surrounded from all sides. He definitely wasn't alone at the moment of death.
The clairvoyants meet to share what they sensed before heading to the village where Andre lived.
I had a dream of a young man, a boy essentially. He was covered in blood, and he was terribly scared.
I saw a creature. It was very terrifying and hairy. I felt overwhelming, numbing horror. Is this creature connected to the boy's death?
The psychics decide to figure out what it means on site.
Hello.
Hello. I have no idea what happened to my son.
Let's go inside.
This is Andre's photo.
It feels like he's calling you even after death. You and him share a powerful bond.
Hearing the clairvoyant's words, Maria just can't hold back. She hoped, until the last moment, that her son was alive and that she had buried a stranger.
I dreamed of him. In the dream, I saw him walking and ran toward him, but he gave me a strange look. His eyes were like glass, and then he ran away from me. I started running after him, but I never caught up with him.
Something terrified him before his death. He seemed to be running, trying to escape, but he didn't make it.
It's like the monster I saw. It gives me chills.
By a strange coincidence, on the same day when the clairvoyants were working almost 500 kilometers from the capital, their colleague Yaroslava Fedorova called our editorial office.
I had a dream last night. There was a boy, very young, not older than 20. He was outside. It was completely dark around, but the moon was shining very brightly. He was running somewhere, and several people were chasing him. They were in black robes that reached down to the ground and had burning torches in their hands.
When we showed her Andre Kolp's photo, she recognized the boy from her dream.
It was definitely him, and I saw the final moments of his life.
Yaroslava Fedorova and Hala Polishchuk both saw the chase after Andre. But who were the people running after him? And why did someone cut off Andre's hands and head?
Suddenly, I felt as if someone pulling me from behind. I tuned in and realized it was Andre, asking me to go somewhere. He was pulling me in that direction. Before he disappeared, I saw him in a crowded place. He said, "Go there."
It's the center of the village.
It's a small village with a population of only 3,000 residents. Usually, all the young people gather in one place in the evenings, the center. Andre was indeed here on the evening of his disappearance. His friend saw him.
I asked him, "Are you going home?" And he said, "No, I'll stay out a bit longer."
Nobody knows what Andre was doing near the cafe and what happened to him afterward.
When we tuned in to Andre's energy near the cafe in the center of the village, I had the feeling that he'd been waiting for someone there. He was waiting for a girl he had feelings for. She was supposed to come there. What's your name?
Irina.
Irina is Andrei's girlfriend. Since the day he disappeared, she's been restless. She tries to support his mother as much as she can.
It's so hard. I love him so much. I still can't believe it. We dreamed of living together. We were already thinking about the future.
I saw Andre before his death. On the last evening of his life, he hoped to see his girlfriend. But she didn't come. Why were you upset with him? You even shut yourself off and didn't answer his calls. Was that the case?
We'd had a fight approximately a month before it happened.
Were you trying to make him do something? You're not telling us something, but it's important, Irina. It's important because there's something hidden in this.
Back then, we couldn't even imagine what important secret Irina was hiding. Later, it will change the course of the investigation into Andrei's death. But for now, Irina isn't even telling the truth to her deceased boyfriend's mother. Meanwhile, the clairvoyants are trying to sense how Andre ended up in the middle of the field, 3 kilometers from here.
A party of people.
They're all young, and I see a vehicle approach them.
They greet one another. Yes, these are friends.
They arrived in a vehicle. It's a car.
And Andre hesitates whether he should go or not.
They left by car.
I worked with Andrei's photo and tried to see the last moments of his life through his eyes. And I saw people in black robes chasing the boy again. Among them, one man stood out. He said a strange phrase, damnatio ad bestias.
Our detective immediately decides to find out what these words mean.
Damnatio ad bestias. This was a ritual of sacrifice, death penalty by beasts.
Could this be related to Andrei's death? Who and why would take the life of an innocent young man so cruelly? The clairvoyants felt that before his death, Andre went to the neighboring village to visit people he barely knew.
I tried to tune in to feel where exactly the men took Andre. I saw a small white house and an old woman sitting on the porch. Do you have the map of the area?
Yes, I do.
We need this place.
This is incredible! Elena Stetsenko pointed to the village where Andrei's body was found 7 months after his disappearance. Was he held somewhere before his death? But why? And who could do it?
I saw what Andre saw. He entered an unfamiliar room. In the middle of it, there was a dining table with various dishes. People were sitting at the table, celebrating something, but he was anxious.
Is Yaroslava Fedorova seeing the exact place that the other 2 clairvoyants are trying to find now?
When we passed an old house in the village, I saw Andrei's spirit at its gate.
Good afternoon.
Hello?
As the Molfar said, an old woman with a cane is sitting on the porch. But how is this related to Andrei's death?
Can we work a little bit here?
Yes, of course.
The elderly woman was the owner of the house. But Hala and I tuned in to the time when Andre had been there. And I felt that the woman hadn't been there then. A family couple with a child occupied the house.
As it turned out, the clairvoyant was right. In 2012, the elderly woman lived with her grandson in a neighboring village and rented her house out for some time.
I see the picture through Andrei's eyes again. He's sitting. People around are laughing and having fun. But then he notices that the people are exchanging glances, as if they are up to something. Andre stands up and says goodbye to everyone going to leave.
He wasn't killed here.
Nothing happened here.
During the search for Andre, the detectives inspected every yard in the village where he lived, as well as in nearby villages, including this one. They checked the yards for blood, Andre's personal belongings, or other suspicious traces.
We found nothing at all.
According to the psychics, Andre left this house alive.
Andre wanted to get out of this place as soon as possible. He hurriedly put on either a jacket or a sheepskin coat, but the owner of the house stopped him at the door. He said, "I'll walk you out." And then the boy noticed that the man's eyes were red. He understood that his only chance to survive was to run.
It seems someone attacked him, but Andre broke free and ran. He chose that direction for a reason. It was as if someone started chasing him. But I'm not sure who it was. I need to check this first, and it's better to do it there, at the place where Andre's body was found.
I saw what Andre saw. It's dark. I'm running as fast as I can. I'm being chased. I look back and see the people in black robes.
All this seems to be some kind of terrible ritual. What really happened to the boy? How did he die? And why were Andre's hands and head separated from his body?
It feels like the people the boy sees are members of some kind of secret order or sect. It's possible that Andre's death was a ritual murder.
Could it be that the 17-year-old boy was invited as a guest and then sacrificed by some cultists? The project's detective, Katerina Malichenko, immediately checks this version and finds out what sects exist in the area where Andre was found dead.
There are 25 charismatic sects operating there. I printed out a list of them and went around with it, hoping that at least one name would be familiar to the locals. And it turned out that everyone knew about a specific religious community.
They've got a sect called Zion.
They call it a church, but it's a sect. They shout, sing, and dance.
Zion used to have a branch in the village where Andre lived. It was closed after one of the parishioners, Natalia, sacrificed her 1-year-old son.
She worked as a kindergarten teacher and even graduated from a pedagogical institute.
She threw her son into a well.
The tragedy occurred over 10 years ago. After that incident, the organization stopped its activities several times and then resumed them again. So, did Andre Kulp really become a victim of local sect members?
The field. He found peace here.
Something terrified him. A lot.
Something grabbed him by the legs. He got really terrified and ran like crazy.
Our detective managed to find the man who rented the house where, according to the clairvoyance, Andre Kulp spent the last minutes of his life.
Are you Mikhailo?
Yes.
Who lived with you in the house in 2012?
Me, my wife, and my daughter.
I already told you that I'm investigating the death of Andre Kulp. Did you know him?
Well, Andre, it was the second time I saw him, really.
We were shocked, but the man admitted that on the evening he disappeared, January 10th, Andre was indeed in that house, where the sense brought the clairvoyance.
What were you celebrating that evening, January 10th?
My friend had a daughter born. That day, well, you understand, we went to buy vodka and beer and then invited our friends. And Andre was among them. We drank, played cards, and had a good time.
How about conflicts? Did anyone fight?
No. Why fight? The man was happy.
How do you think Andre ended up dead in the field?
At around 2 a.m, he said, "Let's go home." I said, "We'll finish drinking and then go." He went out onto the porch and that was it.
I talked to Mikhailo's wife and several other boys who, as it turned out, were the last people who saw Andre alive. Their testimonies match. I have no reasons to suspect that they are lying.
But then, who was chasing Andre before his death?
He runs looking back.
Strangely, the people chasing him turned into dogs. How is that possible? They sink their fangs into his legs, tearing his clothes along with pieces of flesh.
Is it even possible for people to turn into dogs? Werewolves don't exist. They are fictional creatures from Hollywood movies. However, the man who found the boy's remains did see that his clothes were indeed torn.
The clothes were torn. Maybe animals did it?
Damnatio ad bestias.
Damnatio ad bestias is death penalty by beasts.
We don't know what to think or how to explain all this.
When I tuned in to view the situation from the side, I didn't see a single person around him. There were dogs, but no people. Andre was the only one who saw them. I think he hallucinated.
Does it mean that the man with the red eyes and the chase were a mere hallucination? But Andre was mentally stable.
Andre, talk to us.
He's not himself. He wasn't himself. Starting from that house, something was wrong with his head. Did he take drugs?
Is it possible he was given something in that house?
Irina, was it the reason of your argument? Did he use some substances?
Yes. We quarreled because of this? Yes. Weed.
So that's what Andre's girlfriend was hiding from everyone. A few months before his death, Andre started smoking marijuana, and that's why Irina quarreled with him.
Yes, his friends influenced him a lot. They were involved with drugs.
We remembered that Andre's mother had a nightmare after his death, which she couldn't interpret.
I saw him walking and ran to him, but he gave me a strange look. His eyes were like glass.
Smoking marijuana makes eyes look glassy. Does it mean that what Yaroslava Fedorova saw through his eyes was indeed a hallucination, and in reality, Andre was attacked by dogs?
How would you comment the case that happened to Andre Kulp?
A psychosis developed against the background of perceptual distortions. Then delusions began. He got scared and ran.
According to the villagers, there are many stray dogs in the area. So we can assume that Andre was indeed mauled by dogs.
At the beginning of the investigation, I felt that sharp teeth sank into Andre's arms and legs. Those were dog teeth.
I didn't know that.
He feels guilty towards you, and he is deeply upset that you are now alone and have given up on life. He asks you to forgive him.
Thank you for everything. Thanks for helping me figure it out.
Maria, you're surrounded by people who support you.
I know. Irina is like a daughter to me.
You must return to living now.
What a terrible story of a stupid death due to drugs, an unearthed grave, and a vengeful ghost. Don't miss out. The psychics will reveal a chilling family secret, but can they stop the otherworldly killer? In this episode, Lyudmila Litovchenko from Ukraine seeks help from the psychics. She claims that her entire family is destined to die soon.
I simply don't want to bury my children.
Lyudmila is 46. She works as an accountant and has a son and a daughter. Everything in her life would have been wonderful if not for one horrifying event. Her brother Ruslan dug up their mother's grave several years ago.
He unearthed it, and you could see the coffin.
It happened the following day after their mother's funeral. She had died of a stroke. Ruslan couldn't even remember why or how he did this.
He said he didn't remember.
The medics concluded that Ruslan suffered from a nervous disorder due to extreme grief and stress, causing him to lose control. He couldn't bear the loss of the dearest person he adored, especially given that, in their mother's eyes, he was always the favorite among her 5 children.
He was always Mom's dearest boy.
Lyudmila knew that disturbing a grave sealed by a priest could invite punishment from the restless soul of a deceased person. So, she worried that her brother's act would bring calamity upon their family. And within a week, Lyudmila's fears became reality. A fire broke out in Ruslan's house, where he lived alone after a divorce. Ruslan almost burned alive and was taken to the hospital with severe burns.
They couldn't save his leg and had to amputate it. It was terrifying.
The firefighters determined that the cause of the fire was an electric heater. However, according to the family, the device was new and all the wiring in the house was in good condition. But this tragic incident was only the beginning. Soon, Ruslan's only daughter hanged herself at home. She was only 22.
I didn't believe it until I saw her.
The reason behind this horrifying act by a successful student and a future bride remains a mystery for the family.
She inspired me with her zest for life. She never gave up.
2 funerals and a horrible fire in the family within such a short period. And soon, right before Lyudmila's eyes, her own daughter almost burned alive.
It was terrifying.
Lyudmila and her 19-year-old daughter, Lisa, were cleaning up their yard. As everyone else, they were burning dry leaves in the autumn. Suddenly, without warning, Lisa fainted and fell into the flames. Panicked, her mother pulled her out of the fire. The young beauty suffered serious burns.
Here's the scar. And I've got a big one on my arm.
An ambulance arrived. They rushed her to the intensive care unit. It was agonizing to watch her suffer.
Lyudmila and her daughter are convinced that all these events in their family are connected to the disturbed grave of Lyudmila's mother.
I fear for my family.
Our project's psychics, Zhana Shulakova and Rubina Tsibulska, stepped in to help Lyudmila's family.
I worked with the photo of Lyudmila's family, and the cards told me to look for the one who's forbidden to approach the grave. The answer lies with the twins. And
a love triangle. Here's what my mirror showed me. An empty room with a coffin in the middle of it, containing a dead young woman in a wedding dress. A teenage girl leans over her, lowering a wedding veil onto her face. Then I heard the whisper of the dead girl. She said to the teenager, "You're next."
Could it be the future of Lyudmila's daughter, Lisa?
No. The girl in the coffin wasn't her. Nor was it Lisa who lowered the veil.
The next morning, the psychics are ready to set out to meet Lyudmila.
I need to buy a phone. Last night, I kept thinking about the girl in the coffin, and suddenly, I saw her spirit. She told me I should give a new phone to someone.
But how will you find out who?
I don't know it yet, but I feel it's very important.
Hello?
Hello.
We've been looking forward to meeting you. I fear for my children.
I sense cold behind Lisa. Do you feel someone near you?
Yes.
It turns out that recently, Lisa has been seeing the silhouette of a man. His terrifying gaze seems to paralyze her and take away her speech.
I saw him. He looked at me malevolently.
And you, Lyudmila, do you also sense him?
I do. What do we do?
I suggest summoning your mother's spirit and asking her.
Lyudmila, what was your mother's name?
Alla.
I see her. And I smell a fragrance. You know, something sweet.
She had a favorite perfume called Shahrazad. I can still remember it vividly.
I also felt Grandma standing between me and Mom.
She says, "I love you very much."
She will never harm your family.
She's embracing you.
Such warmth. I love you very, very much. Help us.
Her grave had been indeed disturbed. I advised Lyudmila to seek a priest's help to seal it once again.
At that moment, the spirit of Lyudmila's mother began to fade, and she showed something black, like a cross.
A black cross.
Oh God.
What's going on?
I put this ladder here myself. It was standing sound. Why did it fall?
A dead man stood before us, the same spirit that Lisa had seen.
To understand who this enraged spirit was, we needed to work in the house. He seems to be setting a trap for your children.
He'll kill anyone who wants to become a member of this family. Who shut the door? There was no draft or wind.
There's a young woman standing there. She's dead. I saw her in my vision. An empty room with a coffin in the middle of it, containing a dead young woman in a wedding dress. She's trying to tell me something. Pass on a gift from me. She's waiting.
Who?
The spirit is gone. She probably meant the phone. I saw her in some kind of box. She lay in it like a broken doll.
The answer lies within the family. We must find the woman who practices magic.
My middle sister is said to be a witch.
Lyudmila is talking about one of her two elder sisters, Alla. The locals claim she's a witch because she supposedly reads cards and performs various rituals.
I see Alla curse you. You took her child. What does it mean?
I took her daughter from her after she'd beaten her. Bodana lived with me for a month.
It turns out that Alla has a 13-year-old daughter named Bodana. The girl doesn't know her father, and her mother, according to Lyudmila, neglects her and mercilessly beats her.
Mom said, "Don't you even call me Mom?" She beat me with a branch and an iron scoop. I cried.
How can you hate your own child like that?
Recently, Alla even sent her daughter to an orphanage, claiming it was hard for her to deal with the girl alone. On weekends, children with families are taken home, but Bodana always goes to her aunts, as her biological mother doesn't want her. Nevertheless, it doesn't stop Alla from coming to her sister's house, creating scenes and ordering her daughter to come home immediately.
I clean the house, wash dishes, and cook, while Mom is busy with her own things, like watching TV.
Why haven't they terminated her parental rights?
She keeps claiming she'll refuse guardianship over her, but she won't do it because she receives financial support as a single mother.
This is disgusting. Does that woman practice magic on top of that?
I see this woman in the doorway whispering something.
She stuck needles in my doorway.
Needles? Alla could have tied the spirit to the needles, the one hunting Lyudmila's family.
Where does she live?
Not far from here.
Good evening.
What do you want?
We want to understand what's threatening Lyudmila's family.
What does that have to do with me?
Why did you curse your sister?
I didn't. If I got angry, I could only punch her at most.
Lyudmila says you cursed her when she took your daughter, the same daughter you constantly mistreat.
That's her problem if she says so.
We'll sort this out now. Give me your hand.
For God's sake.
These hands choked an infant, a tiny one trying to kill it.
I sense the energy of the infant Alla tried to choke nearby. Was it her?
You simply hated her because of her father, who abandoned you.
This woman's name is Yulia, and she's 33 years old. As it turned out, she's Alla's elder daughter.
She refused from me, and her parents took me to save me.
Yulia was adopted by Alla's parents when she was a baby. Her grandparents raised her along with their younger children.
The dead girl in the wedding dress is here again. She was murdered, and she's pointing at you. She's your daughter.
Darina.
She was my sister.
It turned out that it was Allah's another, middle daughter who had been killed 2 months ago. Darina was only 19.
She was in a large box, lying in it like a broken doll.
Her body was found locked in a suitcase.
Dear God.
It's hard to believe, but the body of the dead girl was indeed found in a suitcase thrown into a garbage container.
We were all shocked.
The locals made this gruesome discovery near one of the high-rise buildings in the nearby town. The girl lived and studied at an industrial college there and worked as a cashier at a coffee shop.
I still can't believe it.
Bodana mourned her sister more than everybody else.
She was going to come to visit me after the new year. She said we'd live together, but it didn't work out.
The forensic experts determined that poor Darina had her neck broken. She was strangled, but her cruel killer hasn't been found yet.
Darina's spirit showed me a young, dark-haired man. She said he killed her out of jealousy. The whole truth will be found in her phone. I sense that Darina communicated with her killer on social media. He's a foreigner.
The family says that Darina indeed dated a foreigner. After the investigation, we learned that the police supposedly found a taxi driver who had picked up a Middle Eastern man. He had a suitcase with him and got out not far from the building where they had found the body.
Darina was killed by a living murderer. But like other family members, she is a victim of an enraged spirit. Her spirit came because she fears for her family, especially her younger sister. She wants to protect her. She says she desperately wanted to call her younger sister, but she couldn't. Now I understand why. She didn't have a phone.
She didn't have one.
This is horrible. A child who lives in an orphanage can't even call her loved ones.
I asked Mom for a phone, even a basic one, just to stay in touch with Darina. But Mom said I didn't need it, and I didn't deserve it.
So this is who Darina asked me to buy a phone for.
Where's Bodana?
It turned out that Bodana's aunts took her to stay with them over the weekend, and so she also came to see the clairvoyants.
I see you standing over your sister's body, alone, holding a white dress.
Is this what Allah made the child do? Dress her dead sister in a wedding gown?
My goodness. Did you dress your sister in a wedding dress?
It was beyond my comprehension. I can't imagine what that girl went through. Now I understand who the mirror showed me before the investigation. My dear girl, your sister asked me to give you a gift from her. She loves you very much.
Darina knew it was my big dream.
I heard Darina's voice. She said, "My mother is only interested in herself. She has no connection to the spirit of the killer, and I'm very grateful to you for the gift to my little sister."
Thank you. Thank you too.
And the next moment, I saw the murderous spirit again, and then something terrible happened.
Wash her face with snow.
Drink, drink, drink the water.
Smelling salt, smelling salt.
Fortunately, Bodana regains consciousness.
The spirit of the enraged man attacked Bodana right before everyone's eyes.
And then the spirit of the murdered Darina showed me some signs.
"12 crosses?
We have a kind of separate little cemetery within the local cemetery. There are 12 graves of our relatives there.
The answer was there.
We need to go to the cemetery. It's horrific. I've never seen anything like this before.
The younger generation of this family is simply dying out. And we couldn't even imagine who the murderous spirit would turn out to be. Whose cross is that?
The black one, my father's.
It's the same cross that the spirit of your mother showed me. She showed something black, like a cross.
It's him, the murderous spirit. Lyudmila, your father is killing his children.
I couldn't even imagine anything like that.
I tuned into the spirit of this man and saw Lyudmila's mother during a ritual. She fears her husband so much that she puts protection on the children and herself. She asked a woman who practices magic for help.
But why did Lyudmila's mother put up the protection? And what does her husband have to do with it?
Rubina, I think I know the reason. It's a love triangle.
I see. And twins.
My brother and I, we're twins.
You and Ruslan, the one who dug up your mother's grave?
Yes.
You and your brother aren't related to your father by blood.
He wasn't their biological father.
The family kept this secret for years. Lyudmila and Ruslan were the youngest of the 5 children in the family. Their mother cheated on her husband and birthed the twins from another man.
Mom fell in love with another man.
It wasn't a fleeting affair between Lyudmila's mother and her biological father. It was an incredible, unconditional love. It had started long before the woman married her husband.
He was her first love. They were going to marry, but Grandpa didn't let her do it.
Lyudmila's mother and her classmate, Aleksander, fell in love when they were both 16. They never separated. The girl dreamed that Aleksander would be the father of her future children.
Her parents forced her to marry another man whom she didn't love, but whom they considered a better match for their daughter.
Yes.
She lived her whole life with a man she despised.
Her heart belonged to Aleksander.
She loved him all her life, and they even dated secretly.
The woman got tired of living a lie, and she confessed everything to her husband. His rage knew no bounds. He wanted to abandon his wife and children, believing none of them were truly his.
Then he cooled down, thought it over, and talked to his wife, and they decided not to destroy their family, and they lived for the sake of their children.
When we were around 13, Mom told us that we weren't blood related to our father.
But her husband couldn't accept her unfaithfulness. He couldn't come to terms with it, and constantly vented his anger at his wife.
Yes, he would beat Mom, but she endured it. She always told me, don't live with someone you don't love.
Lyudmila, I sense that your mother was so afraid of her husband that she didn't even want him to visit her grave.
She said, don't let him even come close to me.
Look for the one who's forbidden to approach the grave. I have a feeling of someone walking behind me.
My legs are numb. Please do something.
We must perform the ritual immediately.
We needed to summon the father's spirit, and Lyudmila was to ask him to leave the family alone.
Show yourself to us. And right before my eyes, the photograph on the father's tombstone began to develop spots. He's here, and he's ready to listen.
Don't harm my children. It's not their fault.
Go away. I'm closing the path into this world for you. The spots are vanishing. He's gone, and he won't trouble your family anymore.
Thank you so much.
It's incredible what awful consequences the mothers living with the unloved man had for the family. The road of death. A supernatural entity provokes horrifying accidents and takes drivers. Where did this killer ghost come from? And can it be stopped? Don't miss the unbelievable investigation by the people with supernatural abilities. The locals fear this 1-kilometer stretch of the road between Ukrainian villages near Kyiv as if it were cursed, as it takes people to the afterlife. Terrible car accidents occur here regularly. A special section of the local cemetery has even been reserved for those who crashed here.
Силы зайди.
All of these are their graves.
Drivers try to be extremely cautious, but the number of accidents keeps rising uncontrollably. The locals live in fear. They say it all started around 10 years ago, though no one has any idea why.
For example, my classmates. They died in a car crash here. 2 others were hit and 3 more crashed. Then another one crashed and another about 300 meters away. So many people died.
This stretch seems cursed.
Accidents on this road happen for various reasons, regardless of weather conditions. Both drivers and pedestrians perish. Yet, this stretch can't be classified as dangerously accident-prone.
During daylight and in clear weather, visibility extends over a kilometer in both directions. There are no turns or slopes on the road. There are no objective factors that could contribute to the occurrence of accidents on this stretch of road.
I was driving to my sister's. When we left the village, there didn't seem to be any fog, but then it was like hitting a solid wall. I literally couldn't see anything. On that day, there were about 5 or 6 accidents on this stretch. That very day. And then, about a week later, a few more guys died.
And so we started thinking of calling the psychics. Maybe they can reveal some secret to us.
Psychics Ala Polishchuk and Khayal Alekperov take on the case.
I see a strange image. It's a young woman. She's very beautiful, but she looks unusual. I see her dressed in white, with flames burning on her head. She walks along the road, collecting dead flowers. And I also see shapeshifters. It's no good. We need to investigate.
The psychics arrive at the dangerous stretch of the road, where the locals are already waiting for them.
These people here lost their relatives and friends.
Please help us.
I feel like you've already tried to do something about it.
We called a priest and had him to bless the road and install a cross, but it didn't help.
What is this infernal power that is unaffected by prayers and blessings?
We need to tune in.
The psychics spent about an hour carefully examining every inch of the dangerous stretch of road. However, as soon as they began their work, the wind suddenly picked up and the sun hid behind clouds.
Like some kind of supernatural force was against us figuring out what was happening there.
This feels like an anomalous zone. I've experienced this before. When? In the 90s, I was in an accident. The taxi driver lost consciousness and crashed into a guardrail.
This area is strange, paranormal. I've only felt this kind of energy once in my life, back in my homeland. In Azerbaijan, there's a mountain pass where many accidents occur. When I drove past that place, I lost control of the car. It felt like some mystical force was driving it instead of me. I got thrown off the road.
I'm an experienced driver and I've been doing it professionally for years. But instead of braking, I pressed the gas as if someone controlled my foot.
I'm starting to see images. People who died in the accidents. I see dozens of deaths. Wait. Another picture. 3 young men. They died right here.
Strangely, the sun reappeared just as suddenly as it had disappeared.
3 guys in a car. They're driving and suddenly a dark car, whoosh, comes straight at them.
Those were our sons. They were driving here and a Jeep hit them head on.
How old were your sons?
18. Here are the 3 wreaths. The accident was right here.
The boys went to the river to swim, but never made it.
The Jeep drove straight at them.
They collided head-on, in broad daylight. None of them survived. One was taken to the hospital, but he died later. All 3 died.
The boys were completely sober. They got into an accident on a straight road in broad daylight. This accident shouldn't have happened. I feel that the driver of the oncoming car was blinded by some extraordinary light. Some kind of force made him swerve and drive into the opposite lane. But I saw another similar accident. A young man was driving, and he too was blinded by the same force. He suffered for a long time before he died.
Oh yes, it was my friend. It happened 6 years ago. He crashed right where the van is standing. There were no other participants in the accident. Just his car. It was split in half.
In broad daylight, the young man flew off the road into a ditch. The car was totally destroyed, and the driver died.
I hear some strange sound. It's either a scream or a squeal. My ears just popped. It's coming from this side.
As it turned out, the locals also hear mysterious sounds on this road.
My dad is 48 years old. He's a strong man. He says he barely endured being on that road. He heard unbearable screaming. He said he'd never heard such a shriek in his life.
Khayal, maybe the voice you're hearing is the key to solving what's happening on this road. We need to find whose voice it is. We need to tune in to the most recent tragedy that happened here.
The energy from the recent accident is the strongest.
Let's tune in to this guy. For some reason, he's showing me a woman. And she's crying. They even look alike. I think it's his mother. His spirit says we need to find her.
Let's go. I hope he helps us understand what this force is.
The boy lived in a village 3 kilometers away. Sasha Melnik was only 17. He was walking home from a disco in a neighboring village when he was fatally hit by a car. His mother still can't cope with this devastating loss.
Come, let me hug you. Just a hug. Come here. Oh dear.
The grieving mother refused to talk on camera. For about half an hour, the psychics consoled the woman and then continued their work.
The mother is in a terrible state, and she's constantly connected to the spirit of her boy. I connected with this spirit through her. He told me that only young men die on this road.
It's unbelievable, but as it turned out, it's true. Only young men, both drivers and pedestrians, die on this road.
My son was injured in an accident. 2 weeks later, 2 more kids were hit on the same road. Losing your child is a tragedy, and I don't want such incidents to happen there again.
Girls never. Only boys and young men.
Hala, but on the road, I felt the death of an older man.
That's strange.
He was about 50 years old.
That must be the eldest, that father who died. But the rest were all young boys, not even married yet.
As it turned out, in September 2011, a local farmer, 47-year-old Ruslan Sivak, died in an accident on this dangerous stretch of road.
I have a feeling that the man wasn't supposed to die. His death was a mistake. The force taking lives on this road made an error.
As the night fell, the psychics decided to continue the investigation the next day and set out in the morning to the family of the deceased man.
Hello.
To tune in to the energy of the deceased man, the psychics asked his widow for something that was his.
What was your husband's name?
Ruslan.
It feels like he was shattered to pieces.
The body of the deceased was left unrecognizable to spare anyone from seeing the horror. The coffin wasn't even opened during the funeral.
Your husband was supposed to be at home that night. He wasn't supposed to go anywhere. But he had a call.
Indeed, someone called him and told him to come pick up Zhenya.
That night, this woman's 15-year-old son, Zhenya, was in a neighboring village celebrating his friend's birthday. He planned to return by car with his older friend. But on the way home, the car hit a pothole precisely at the spot where the accidents occur. Like some mystical force was preventing the boys from moving further.
We tried to start the car, but I remember we couldn't go anywhere.
So my husband went to pick up our son. It was late, around 2 a.m.
Oh my God. Did your son witness what happened to his father?
Yes, it happened before his eyes.
The boy lost consciousness from the shock. He doesn't recall what happened next.
I saw him stop, park, and get out of the car. Then, I heard the screeching of tires, and the next thing I remember is the ambulance.
I'd like to speak to your son if that's all right. Hello, Zhenya. Apart from terror, you also feel guilt.
He shouldn't have come for me.
But it's not your fault. Zhenya was at the site, and on a subconscious level, I'm sure he saw the force that took his father. If we go together to this road, I may be able to reconstruct the scene and understand what force takes people's lives there.
The psychics decided to return to the dangerous stretch of road with the family of Ruslan Sivak.
I'm reading information from Zhenya and see that before your father's death, the anomalous zone expanded. It became enormous.
I see that he was hit by 2 cars. Your father came from that direction. He was pulled over here. He tried to cross the road, maybe to reach you. 2 cars were approaching at high speed. One was light-colored, and the other was dark. Your father decided to wait until they passed. Then, bang, the impact was right around here.
As it turned out, the man was hit by 1 car, but the fatal injuries were caused by another vehicle speeding behind it.
The white car hit him, and the blue one dragged him.
Men in uniform drove both cars. They were law enforcement officers.
Does it mean the poor man was killed by 2 defenders of law and order who were racing each other at high speed on the night road? It's simply incomprehensible.
I have a strange feeling on this road, as if death is walking nearby. And Ruslan's death was no accident.
Don't you agree, Valentina, that this unexpected incident with your son's car, the sudden call for your husband, and the fact that they were driving at that moment are truly mystical? But yes, mostly young people have died here, while your husband was older.
He was 47.
And I can't shake the thought that the boys were supposed to die at that moment.
So, it turns out that at the moment Ruslan died, the danger threatened his son and Zhenya's friend. But the man's presence diverted death away from the boys.
He simply shielded them and saved them.
But why do young men die on this stretch of road? What force is taking them to the other side?
Khayal, do you remember on the way here, you felt the presence of a shapeshifter?
Yes, Hala. I also mentioned a girl in a white wedding dress. I see her dressed in white, with flames burning on her head. She walks along the road, collecting dead flowers.
Could it be a female shapeshifter?
As I understand it now, the fire on her head is red hair like yours, Hala.
The card of the girl's death. She was either preparing for a wedding or trying on a wedding dress. Oh, I've got goosebumps, look.
Somewhere here, violence occurred against this girl. I feel she was raped.
Yes, there was such a case. Almost 11 years ago, a girl with red hair was found here,
around the swamp. The girl was very beautiful, red-haired and curly. She was brutally raped and then strangled and dragged into the pond.
As it turned out, the news of the brutal murder of 17-year-old Yulia caused a stir in all the surrounding villages. Her mutilated body was found in the forest near the road. But how is her terrible death connected to the accidents on this road?
The girl's spirit is calling me.
She was very naive. She didn't understand who she could trust and who she couldn't. She grew up on her own, like wild grass in the field.
But her parents were drunkard. She was like an orphan.
Violence in the most brutal form, because I sense internal organ rupture, like bruises or some kind of wounds on her chest, and her mouth is torn. This is so awful.
They tormented her badly, and that's what she died from.
I sense that before this, she talked to two guys who she knew. They were coming back from someplace where it was fun.
Yeah, they were at a disco in the neighboring village.
The Ginger Beauty was last seen alive at the disco. She went there with her friends. However, none of them noticed how or where she disappeared.
They interrogated all the young people in the village for 5 days.
A witness was finally found. A young man saw one of the local boys washing his bloodied hands in the restroom of a local cafe.
Someone said they saw him washing his hands. They were covered in blood, and he was washing them.
The forensics proved that the rapist was indeed the guy the witness pointed out.
I see 2 young men. They brought the girl's dead body here.
Khayal, I think only one of them brutally raped her.
And the other one helped him get rid of the body.
At the interrogation, the accomplice confessed that he helped carry the girl's mutilated body along this very road, all the way to the spot where the psychics are now.
I feel that one of them was punished while the other one wasn't.
One of them recently got out of prison. He served 10 years.
Although one of the 2 offenders served time in prison, what is 10 years of confinement compared to the life stolen from her? This is why the girl's spirit can't find peace.
She's collecting her fiancés, you see.
I saw the girl at the very beginning of the investigation. Back then, I saw her in a long white dress gathering dead flowers by the roadside. Now I see what it means. She wants a fiancé for herself. So she takes the young men she likes, and after their deaths, she gathers the flowers from the wreaths along the road to make a wedding bouquet.
It's just unbelievable. But not only the psychics see the spirit, she also appears to the locals.
Svetlana's son often goes to the neighboring village, and when he approaches these flowers, here, where people died, he says he constantly sees a white silhouette of a woman. When he gets closer, she disappears.
At first, I didn't believe him. "What are you making up?" I said. "That can't be." But he said, "Mom, what could someone be doing there at 1 or 2 o'clock at night?" He dashed home like mad.
The woman is desperate. She trembles at the very thought that her son could become the next victim. The psychics are her only hope to stop the dead bride.
"I'm begging you, please perform some kind of ritual, some kind of ceremony, so that nothing like this ever happens on this road again." Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from the evil one. For thine is the kingdom, the power, and the glory, forever and ever. Amen.
To appease the spirit of the murdered beauty, the psychics and the locals spent almost an hour reciting prayers.
We're asking the girl's spirit to leave all the innocents in peace. Please leave them alone and don't touch them.
Please leave them alone and don't touch them.
I think everything will be all right now.